And also, US President Donald Trump wants China to cut trade surplus that it has with the United States. Now, Donald Trump says that China must cut trade surplus by about $100 billion. Donald Trump has introduced tariffs. China has warned a trade war will help none, and the other country is actually capable of retaliating if it is pushed to the wall. However, it is not just the US that is wary of China. India too has a massive trade deficit with China. In fact, trade deficit with China stands at more than $36 billion in the period April till October 2017. And to address that, trade ministers and also senior officials of India and China are meeting today. Now, the meeting assumes significance as India has time and again raised the issue of heavy trade imbalance with China and has sought steps to facilitate Indian exports in areas including pharmaceuticals and also agricultural products and information and technology services. So this is an interesting development that is coming in on the back of the announcement that has been made by Donald Trump, where he wants to take China head on in the massive trade deficit which US has with China. Now, India is also a trade deficit nation when it comes to trade with China, $36 billion in a span of about 6 months. But can India turn things around? Because this is not a straightforward, simple process as one would imagine. It is not just about trade deals, but two different nations have with each other. And to discuss more on this and the implications this is likely to have, we're joined in by our business correspondent Sumit Chaturvedi. Sumit, good morning to you. Now, are you surprised at all that India has made this announcement that they would like to rectify the trade deficit that they have with China? And is it reasonably possible to expect that this can be achieved?
Well, Saleh, I would say that the move has come very late, though it's better late than never. Well, India is having a whopping $50 billion of a trade deficit with China. Our local industries have been, dying because of many Chinese imports. We export only $10 billion worth of goods, while we import $60 billion worth of goods from China. So that should have happened earlier, but now it has happened. Today, Suresh Prabhu, the Commerce Minister, will discuss this with China's counterpart. And this is an important move because India has to put forward its demands as far as opening of Chinese markets is concerned. Well, China is a good market for India, pharma sector, farm produce sector and other sector as well. But so far, China has not allowed access to India. On the other hand, China has enjoyed unlimited access to Indian markets, flooding its markets with all product, all cheap and expensive too. So this is a thing that should have happened earlier, but now it's happening, which is a good sign also. So China, what it wants from India is that some relaxation in certain areas like telecom, IT, where Chinese companies are not favored very much. Over the last few years, some certain Chinese giants, especially in telecom sector, have been given an unfair treatment as they allege, and they want fair treatment in India. India, on the other hand, wants more open access to China, and India has found it is the right time when China is under pressure from US. Because if it doesn't happen now, China, because it's not able to export goods to US, can dump that in India, and India has to take that into account and go back on the table, which is it doing now.
Right, and also, Sumit, considering, how complex these trade negotiations actually are, because it is not as straightforward as saying, look, we'll tweak the rules of engagement a bit and we will turn around the deficit. Because quite clearly, this is something that is determined by how competitive the goods are in the international market in terms of their pricing.
Absolutely, Saleh. That is something that goes with the theory. In practical, well, it depends all on the two-way negotiations. Look at what the things Trump has done. In theory, WTO compliance says that all countries will have to open market for each other, and that's how the global trade happens. But in practicality, Trump is not allowing Chinese companies to and having a 25% of tariff on steel and aluminium products. So in theory, yes, we should absolutely we should have this cordial relations with China. Any dispute should go to WTO. But in practicality, we are seeing WTO is not playing any major role so far. WTO has been a toothless tiger so far, and that's the advantage of this is being enjoyed by many countries. So India should also bring China to the table, to negotiation table now, and get something which it wants.
And very quickly, Sumit, just before I let you go, is it possible at all that a nation like United States or even India could make their goods competitive in the international market in terms of their pricing? Because the reason why China has become the factory of the world is because of its ability to turn things around at the lowest possible price.
Absolutely, Saleh, that is point. But another point here is that China for long did not allow its markets to open for other parts of the world. It slowly and slowly built competitiveness for its own industries and then opened this to world market in 80s and 90s. So that's how the Chinese product became so good, and because it was closed for long, so it did not allow companies to come to Chinese market. So that's what the advantage it enjoys over India and US, which have been a fairly open market since ages.
Absolutely, indeed. We'll have to leave it there. Thank you very much indeed, Sumit Chaturvedi, for joining us. So it does appear that we are looking at a period of isolationism, if one could use the word, in trying to rectify these trade deficits.